Thanks. The man accused of faking his death in Green Lake County during a kayaking trip, then fleeing the country, appeared in court today.
The disappearance, which happened back on August 12th, drew national attention after a massive search effort was conducted. Ryan Borgwardt, who's from Watertown, faces the charge of obstructing an officer, which carries a penalty of up to 9 months behind bars and a $10,000 fine. Jason Zimmerman was at today's hearing. He's live in Green Lake with a first alert update. Jason.
Bill, we're learning a lot more about what happened to Ryan Borgwardt during his disappearance in court documents filed just a short time ago. According to that paperwork, he faked his death and left the country to travel to the country of Georgia to meet a woman that he met online. Leaving behind his wife and 3 kids to travel halfway across the world, Ryan Borgwardt is back in Wisconsin for the first time since he went missing August 12th, faking his death and forcing Green Lake County authorities to conduct an extensive search, believing he might have drowned while kayaking.
Did he come willingly, Sheriff?
Yeah.
Has he said what compelled him to come back to Wisconsin?
His family, I guess.
And did he come back on his own, or?
Yes.
The sheriff says Borgwardt arrived back in Wisconsin on Tuesday and was taken into custody, appearing in court for an initial appearance Wednesday afternoon, having almost no money left to his name, opting to defend himself.
I had $20 in my wallet in the other room, so that's what I have.
Afterwards, the district attorney declined to comment, but the sheriff told us he has spoken to Borgwardt's family.
We just briefly spoke to them, and I can only imagine how they feel.
Court documents reveal that Borgwardt used a raft to get back to shore after dumping his kayak, phone, and fishing equipment in the middle of Green Lake. Eventually, he made his way to Madison, where he took a Greyhound bus to Toronto and flew to Paris before ending up in the country of Georgia. The sheriff credits the work of his department for never giving up on the case.
They're the ones that kept this going. I couldn't be more proud of them, of what they did for a family. We didn't give up. And we can stand here today feeling relieved.
Borgwardt was released from custody just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. He is due back in court for further proceedings on January 13th. Reporting live in Green Lake, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.